Hi everybody, welcome to the Finance This Property That podcast. My name is Dion Fernandes and I am a mortgage planner and finance professional. My goal is to empower financial legacies for generations, and I look to do this by using my over 13 years experience in finance and having special guest speakers like financial planners, accountants, buyer's agents, family lawyers who are experts in their field to provide knowledge and free education. And without further ado, let's get into our episode today. Hey everybody, welcome to today's episode of Finance This Property That. So I know you've all been waiting for this special guest to be on here. I know he's been waiting a long time. I hear about it every week. Family man, loves his jet skis, into cricket, has a dog that he never really wanted but now loves. Welcome, Director of Emerge Finance, Adam Bradley. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, mate. I'm pumped to get the invite. Long time listener, first time guest. So the guest list is too long. I finally got the call up, so I'm excited.
Yeah, I had to get everyone else out the way and
Build it
up for the punters. Thanks for joining us today. I know we're actually in our really busy time of the spring selling season. I think sprung on us very early.
Yes, definitely.
I feel. And next week we're off to Connective's National Conference. Will be pretty amazing. Good week of learning.
Yeah, definitely.
I thought I'd get you on here, share your thoughts. Obviously you've started your own business with your background, where you came from, but also share your thoughts on how the mortgage broking industry has actually changed since you started to where it is now. Give people an insight. Especially clients that you've dealt with people that don't really understand the industry, but also give us a little bit about your why and how our team's actually grown. There's a couple of key topics that I'd just like to cover.
Yeah, no, sounds good. I guess I've always been interested in property, right? I bought my first property when I was 21, so I've been a long-term property investor. It's just always something I was interested in, and everyone has to live somewhere and holiday somewhere, and great way to build wealth. So I guess I was always interested in property, read a lot of property books and things. I actually am from an engineering background. So my dad's an engineer, mum's an accountant. So I did both at uni. I did a commerce engineering dual degree. When I graduated, it was the GFC, so it wasn't probably the best time to get into finance or commerce. So I went into engineering. We were building tunnels and bridges everywhere. So it was a really good market. But I guess I just didn't really have that drive to sort of run that career, the whole way through. And I really had a passion for sort of helping people. And when I found broking, it was because I bought another property and, we used a broker here in Brisbane, had a really positive experience. And I sort of said to my wife, Bridget, I was like, hey, this would be a pretty cool business to run. Like, get to talk property. I'm an engineer, so I love the numbers. Was really keen to start my own thing and I guess have that time flexibility around, a family. And that's sort of how Emerge grew. So, I was a full-time engineer, sort of part-time broker, helping mates out, nights and weekends. So we'd sort of joke at home that I'd finish my full-time role, during the day as an engineer, and then I'd come home for the night shift as a broker.
Yeah. Isn't it funny how you just, we around the social media networks now, they're talking about the side hustles.
Yeah.
You literally, you were doing the side hustle
before it was cool.
Before it was cool. Before you had to, tell everyone on TikTok that you're doing a side hustle. You're already doing it. Imagine if TikTok was around then.
Yeah, that's it. And look, it was just born out of a position of I wanted to help people. I was a first home buyer and first time investor. I got a lot of value from the broker that I used. And I mean, it's quite an aging industry, right? I saw a bit of an opportunity. I've grown up in Brisbane my whole life, and really in my network, I didn't know any brokers that were sort of my age. So I just thought, I've got a pretty good network and, played a lot of sport and, extracurricular. So I had a good network of mates and friends and colleagues. I was like, if I don't know any brokers, surely there's a bit of an opportunity to start helping those people out. And I guess that's how Emerge grew. And it's grown quite quickly, right? And it's really just off the back of, I guess, good quality service, having a real genuine interest for people and really caring about them and building relationships. But it's all just been word of mouth.
Yeah, and I think that's unique in this current climate. And, correct me if I'm wrong, take your views on it, where I think people trying to get in the industry now, and I know I had this conversation with you when I started because, coming on self-employed, where am I going to get my leads? And, your thing was just go talk to people.
Yeah.
And that's all you need to do. And like, and I said, should I do advertising? I go, and I remember this one week I spoke to like 4 different companies, and you're just like, just go talk to more people.
Yeah.
And the more people that know about it. And I think that's, being here now nearly a year at Emerge, the one thing I know it's crazy, isn't it? It's the one thing I have noticed is around how many people you actually know, and just everyone knows who you are, which is a testament to the service that you actually provide and the ecosystem you've now given to other brokers. And I'll touch base on that soon. That have come in, all your staff that have now come into the business. It's just the brand is so good. And the biggest, I guess, thank you and the indicator of that is the over 250 Google reviews. That, I guess, off the back of your hard work and just being a nice person. Like people do business with that they know, like, and trust, right?
Yeah, that's it. Yep. And look, it's bloody hard starting a business, right?
Yeah.
Like we're in an industry where we're only remunerated when we help a client, right? Yes, we have to do a lot of conversations, but ultimately to survive in this business, you need to be helping people. And I think, that's where I do have a real genuine interest in people and learning about their situation and what they're trying to achieve. And so, property is like the great Australian pastime. Everyone's talking about property. Everyone wants to buy property. Everyone's looking at buying or upgrading or selling or investing or buying holiday homes or putting in pools or building. So, I just help facilitate that. Like, I love property, so I love helping people on that journey. And I think, hopefully that authenticity and that sort of trust comes across to clients where, and you've seen it being in the business now, like there's clients that will turn away if it's not something that is up our wheelhouse, or if it's something that someone's trying to do dodgy or something. We've got a lot of integrity around what we do as a business. And I think ultimately that's what you need to do if you're going to build a long-term business.
Yeah.
And I think we really focus on the client outcome and I guess the journey of that client. And that's evident in the Google reviews. I'm really proud of that. And it's great seeing the team getting recognition around those reviews as well. But, I think a lot of industries, they're so hungry and spending so much effort trying to get new clients in the door. But then when they come in the door, they do a pretty crappy job of actually servicing it. So I guess we have a bit of a different mantra where it's like, we're so appreciative that people want to work with us and we want to work with them. So let's just give them an absolute rock star treatment and give them all the advice and all the knowledge that we've got to help them grow their business or their wealth through property. And then we just hope that if we've done a good job, they'll tell a mate or a colleague or a friend about us. And that's sort of, how it's worked. You don't actually need thousands of new clients. You can't actually deal with that many.
You can't service that. It's too much.
I'd rather just have like better relationships with the clients that want to work with us.
Yeah.
So,
and I think that's something we do. Well, you've done quite well is you've stayed in your lane. Whereas I know, speaking to other brokers and other business owners, when you're starting, you get the whole, where's my next pay coming from, right? How am I getting paid? And you just take on everything and anything. And it's quite consuming. I mean, I was guilty of that at the beginning. I just took on anything and everything and probably a few things out of my wheelhouse. But actually learning off the back of that and just going, let's just get back to basics, built the basics, and now then I can come revisit that stuff that I probably shouldn't have done initially because I didn't have the capacity but now we've grown the team, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Which I think is quite cool. To me, that's the best part.
Yep.
Is having the team there because the team allows you to speak to more people, have more conversations.
It's a lonely job, right?
It
As
is.
a sole broker.
It sucks.
I didn't have many people to talk to at the start, right? So I guess I would talk to clients. But I think when you're starting out in a brokerage, you are still trying to, test the waters on what sort of transactions or what sort of stuff that you enjoy doing. And, a lot of the stuff that you do or specialize in is not stuff that I specialize in. And I think that's really cool that we've grown the team to be able to offer all of these extra capabilities because, I think I mentioned to you just before, like I financed a commercial property around the corner from here, but I completely ballsed it up. So it wasn't my specialty. And so therefore I don't play in that lane now. I have become a real expert in that residential space, people buying their own home or dream home, investing, building pools, all that sort of stuff, because that's my bread and butter and that's what I really enjoy. And I think that's been the really cool part about growing a team, is that you're adding all of these capabilities into the business that I never had. So, a lot of the stuff you do around the commercial and development, we've got first home buyer experts in the team now. We've got bridging loan experts. We've got guarantor experts, SMSF. So, it's such a greater offering for a client. Yes, I can do those transactions. And yes, we're going to be remunerated for it, but it's not just about that. It's about what's the customer experience around that transaction. And if I'm not very good at it or not confident in it, the whole reason we became a broker is to give people choice and to make sure that we're getting them into a position where they're in a better position and they've got a loan that facilitates that. So if I don't know the commercial market back to front and upside down, well, then how can I be confident about recommending a proposal or a product or a structure to that client when that's not my core business? So I think the benefit of our business now is that we've got these industry experts within the team. We're all working together. You're working on a few of my clients and vice versa. So we all work as a team because the actual goal is to create a great customer outcome.
Yeah.
And then the byproduct of that is they tell their mates about us. So
correct.
it's like, it's a really easy. Good outcome for all involved.
I think the return on investment's really high with that. And, classic example, we just had one recently with Luke, who's also been on this podcast. He's Luke and Simon are our first home buyer guys. They actually do a really good job around that space because they know it inside out. I don't. But, he had a client that he was dealing with and then realized that he probably wasn't going to be able to see it through. But she just had the utmost trust in him that when she handed him over to myself, she's self-employed, a little bit complex, already signed a contract, was panicking. The real estate agent had got in her ear, say, go see my broker. And her broker was going to put her on a loan for like 7.39% because he didn't take the extra 2 minutes to actually understand her income structure. And one phone call, because Luke understood it, he just rung me and goes, "Hey mate, this is what she is. I think she's really suited to what you do, and I think you'll be able to find her a solution." Mind you, he's also going away for 3 weeks. So, about that service. And we got that done in, that was that week where we just got all those approvals, helped so many clients, all self-employed. We got that done from, I think I spoke to her on a Wednesday, and by the next Tuesday, it was unconditionally approved. She signed it, and Friday she settled.
Yeah, that's
so
it.
Within 2 weeks from appointment to settlement, in actually 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's right. And that's the team, right? Yeah. That's having the experience, because really all brokers have got the same lenders, the same loans, the same products, the same interest rates. It's all quite similar. But I think the thing that sets us apart as a business at Emerge is the team, for one, but also our credit knowledge. So having experts like yourself that do some different type of lending, or first home buyer experts, it's, we're not going to, we can work together as a team to get a better outcome.
Yeah.
And I think, obviously you and I and some of the other brokers are potentially the face of Emerge, and we're out there talking to clients, but, it'd be remiss of us not to talk about, our back office team and our customer relations team, because, without them, they make us look like rock stars, right?
Yeah, 100%.
And so without them, we can't run a business. And so, there is a lot to do in a brokerage business, right? We've got to, look for new clients, assist people buying, running scenarios, doing the credit, talking to banks, helping them go through the process of buying. You almost end up being a property coach, got a lot of compliance. So there's all these things that we're doing, plus your own zero and accounting and whatnot. There's so many different hats that we wear as a broker. So it's so good to have a really strong back office team. And they're the ones that the clients are talking to as well around some of the documents and things like that. Yeah. So they really carry us and make us look good.
We joke about it, right? We go, well, we joke there's the boys' side and the girls' side. But honestly, like you said, it'd be really remiss of us not to acknowledge Michelle, Sarah, and Linda for the actual hard work that they do.
Yep.
And then we've got the other team sitting onshore / offshore. Audie, Mikey, and Chrisanne.
Yep.
That's right. They do a phenomenal job of just taking the stuff away. They're good at that.
And look, I don't think clients really realise how much back end work there is in actually processing a loan. So, we do a lot of the front end, like dealing with clients and, walking them through the process and helping them structure it properly and build wealth through property. But, in doing that, there's a lot of paperwork that, because we're dealing with banks and lenders, right? They need to tick the boxes and Consumer Credit Protection Acts and all sorts of things. So
and they all bloody do different things.
Yeah, correct.
All different documents. Why can't we just have one form or application process for every? You're all asking the same questions.
Correct, yeah. And we probably won't solve that today, but it's something that we can hope to be.
I know it's a conversation. Like I know Linda and I had that same, I think a couple of weeks ago, oh my gosh, it's this one and this one. Why can't we just have one? But yeah,
and look,
you're right.
we don't want clients to even have to worry about that side of things. So that's what our team is so good at. Our goal is to make it really seamless. And, some of the best Google reviews that I love receiving and reading from our clients is that they say, hey, the Emerge team just made it so easy. Like there's lots of other parts of the process that are stressful, dealing with other third parties and, finding the property and negotiating and all of that sort of stuff, coming up with deposits and things. But, I love when we see the response or the review saying, hey, these guys made it really easy. And it was just so they stepped me through the whole process because, we sometimes forget that, you and I are dealing with this day in, day out, but most clients are only buying every 5 to 7 years. So, if you're not in the industry and you're not doing it all the time, of course you're not going to know the whole process and nor should we expect clients to. So I think a lot of the stuff that we do and, we're always continually trying to improve our process and learn about how to be better as brokers and as a business and dealing with clients. But, always, probably sick of me ramping on about it, but, let's go back and put our, go back into the client's shoes and say, well, what could we have done that would have made this transaction better or easier for the client? And so, we're constantly evolving, but, we're definitely getting there.
And I think, by doing that, you're seeing that in your Google reviews, right? You just mentioned that and constantly evolving. How do we change it? Look, if that process didn't work, well, what do we need to do? Do we need to change it? Do we need to not change it or do it better? Like that more, better, different, less, right?
Correct.
So I think that's a sign of a good, I guess, leader as well. Like, let's call a spade, right? Like you growing the business, you're actually, you are the leader and people do actually look up to you. I'm in awe of what you've done because I've just gone, shit, I should have done that 5 years ago. But you'll see a lot of brokers that, we've seen it. We've had this conversation with Marcus, right? Like he's come in and goes, I don't want to be a broker. I don't have the confidence. But, what I've seen is we've given him an opportunity, or you've given him an opportunity to go, hey, how about we build some confidence?
Yeah.
Get your head right. Get your knowledge up. Get your processes up. Speak to more people. You've even sent him to a BNI group and just growing that way. So that's that continuous improvement piece that I don't, we don't just see it in our process, but we see it in our team.
Yeah. And look, I did it the hard way, right? Because I started from scratch. I didn't have a finance background.
Yeah.
I didn't roll off out of a bank with a huge database of high net worth clients that I could just roll into a brokerage. So I had to start from scratch. Like I did a commerce degree, but as you know, it doesn't always teach you everything, especially not for mortgages. So
definitely not AOL.
No, that's it. And so I just had to bash my head against the wall for years and years. I think it's pretty cool what we can offer now as a business because whether people are coming in our processing team or our broker team, it's pretty schmick now, right? Like we've made all the mistakes.
Yeah.
So I sort of, the people that we look to hire and, probably similar to when you join the team is that, we've got the credit sorted, we've got the process, we've got the back office, we've got the team. I mean, you've just got to bring a great attitude and an ability to learn and work within the team, right? Like I think some of the guys joining our business are very fortunate that, we've made all those mistakes that they can sort of ride off the coattails of that.
Yeah.
And that's what I get really excited about as well. Like, obviously as a business, we've won a lot of awards over the years and, top 100s and things like that. And, a lot of that is great from a marketing perspective, but a lot of clients don't really care about that, right?
No.
They just want to know, am I getting looked after? And is this the right brokerage for me?
Yeah.
And so I've sort of diverted my focus away from that and more into, well, how can I build up the team? So, I'm loving seeing, some of our brokers hitting PBs and things like that. That gives me a lot more enjoyment than, one of my PBs, for instance.
Yeah. And I think that, when you're doing your records and stuff, it's not about the number. Like to me, it's never about the number. That's the that's the end result of the work you've done to cultivate a relationship, listen to a client, listen to their requirements and objectives, and formulate a strategy to help them. It's about how many clients have I helped?
Yeah.
No one,
No one knows.
No one knows.
No one
Who
knows if
cares?
that's good, bad, indifferent. So there's no point talking about it. I mean, we
Correct.
might talk internally around it because we've got, goals that we want to hit personally as a broker, but a client doesn't really care about that.
No.
And, there's lots of industry awards and things, and that's great. But really, a client just wants to know, hey, am I going to be looked after? Do I trust these guys? Are they going to get the job done for us? I don't care how many loans you've done in the past. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's here and now. How are you going to help me with mine?
Like I
So,
said.
you'd probably attest this. Like I'd never talk anything about, how many loans or anything like that, because it doesn't matter. Like the goal is to help more clients, right?
I love sharing the stuff I love sharing, and I probably need to be better and do more of it, is sharing the story, the scenario of well, how do we actually, what was the problem and how do we help clients? The whole reason I do this podcast is to empower financial legacies for generations.
Yeah.
And when I got very clear on that vision, and it just so happened that you share a pretty similar vision, right?
Definitely.
And the vision's one thing, but the actual actions that come off the back of that are two. You can say all you want,
Correct.
if you're not actually delivering on it. People find out pretty quickly. Like I said before, people do business with who they know, like, and trust.
Yeah, that's it.
And I think you've got a very good name, and I just think that the more you share people's stories, and good and bad, because you're not going to be able to help everyone. That's one thing I've learned, and just going, be very honest and upfront, and give them solutions. I guess that's us growing our network.
Correct.
People like the credit repair, accountants, financial planners. We've got that massive network.
Correct.
To help, and it's coming from such a trusted source. There was some polling that came out who trusted advisors. Brokers are really high up there. Nurses, probably number one. Nurses, doctors, number one trusted advisors, and brokers are up there. Because let's face it, you're trusting me, you're trusting you to look after the biggest purchase you'll ever make in your life.
Correct.
Right?
And look, we don't discriminate, right? Like there's clients that we've been talking to for 3 or 4 years to get in a position to buy. So they're the ones I love, where people don't think they're in a position to actually get into the property market, and you can guide them through it. And whether someone's putting in a pool with a small loan or buying $1 million property, I mean, we don't discriminate.
No.
That's the biggest thing that's happening in that client's life, and it's important to them. So we need to, replicate that importance.
And that's why we've got the greater team, because let's say if you're busy and I'm busy, and we've got Simon and Luke, we can also train up our two newest guys as well. Just train them up and build their knowledge, and that's why we're growing and cultivating a really good culture around growth for our people, but also growth for our clients.
Correct.
Because the more people they've got, it's the easier just to trust the ball's not going to get dropped.
That's it. And you think about like our speed at the moment, so being able to get information back, get proposals back to clients quickly with our team dynamic. I mean, a lot of the business that we win is because clients haven't heard back from the bank or whatnot for weeks.
Haven't heard back from their broker for 3 months. So can you help me?
We're here to build the industry, right? So, brokers get busy, but I guess that's one of the other advantages that we have as a team, is that because we've got multiple brokers and multiple people in the team, if one's busier than the other, we can share that workload. Or if someone's on leave, as inevitably happens, we can share that workload around. So that's the other advantage of working with a slightly bigger business like ours, as opposed to a one-man band. Because, I mean, I was there. I started as a one-man band. Emerge was me. I had all these aspirations, but ultimately it was just me sitting at home, working from home. We've obviously now got the commercial property, which is really exciting, and such a great space to bring clients and referral partners too. We've got the coffee shop next door, so it creates a real community feel. And we're really one of those inner North Brisbane brokers, working with clients, right around the country. But it gives clients that fast turnaround times, because it is stressful putting finance clauses on, trying to secure property. You can't be sitting around, not getting it sorted, right? So we see a lot of clients that miss out on properties because they just haven't got their finance sorted in time. But a lot of the time we can do it very quickly.
And I think that's the biggest difference between the experience piece, but also a lot of brokerage. You would have felt it when you were the one man band, that's the term that gets floated around, trying to see more than 2-3 clients in a week. Correct. If that, you just don't have if you're doing all the processing and thing, and you get a lot of, I think, other business owners, not just from the finance industry, ask you about, well, how did you free up capacity? And when you tell them, it sort of falls on deaf ears, because they just, you told me a story the other day where there's a couple of people that just do everything themselves. And you said, well, why don't you get, why don't you look at some offshore, a virtual assistant to help you take the tasks off? I think you've been talking to them for about a year or so about it. They still haven't done anything.
There's a lot of brokers that I mentor, both obviously within our business, but outside of it. And I guess the reason I do that is I want to give back to the industry, because when I started, I was a nobody. And look, we're still growing, but I reached out to 4 or 5 brokers that I knew in the industry and said, oh, look, can I chat you a coffee? And they were also offering and, open to giving their time to me. And so I guess I want to try and give that back. And ultimately, I'm an advocate for the industry. We're writing almost 75% of all home loans now. And there's no reason why that shouldn't be 90, 95. I mean, in the commercial space, it's probably 30, 35. So there's obviously a good growth there. But when I started, it was like brokers had about a 40% market share. So our market has grown so dramatically in the last decade. And it's because of the service. It's because of the credit knowledge. It's because we care. We'll pick up our phone after hours. We don't close up shop at 4 p.m. We will work overtime and get back to people quickly and do weekends, because ultimately we want to make sure the client's looked after, right?
Yep. And I think, that goes to that trusted advisor piece as well. That's why there's 75% of all Australians use a broker for their mortgages, right? And you're right about the commercial space increasing up a little bit. Just the competition, right?
Correct.
You'll find a lot of ex-commercial bankers are coming out and becoming commercial brokers.
Yep.
The freedom, flexibility, they understand the concepts, grow bigger. Like you said, you weren't as fortunate as me to have a background in finance, right? Where it's like I'm coming in, lending, like you understand the basic concepts.
Yep.
I think that's why I've sort of thrived a little bit. And, I didn't think I'm very fortunate to be in the position I am, because like I said, we just slotted in. Right. But, I could imagine someone new starting right now, trying to do everything themselves and not seeking. I think it's kind of tough for people to ask for help. Yeah. But, I'm going to put it out there. If anyone's listening to this podcast and you're in the finance industry, or even any industry that you're running your own business, reach out to people. Yeah. Have a conversation. Yep. Like there's had one yesterday with another connective broker. She was doing a client's proposal that she'd never done before, but I'd done hundreds of them already. I said, I didn't have I knew I didn't have the capacity, but I made the time because, again, I looked at it and went, well, what's my vision is to empower financial legacies for generations. Well, it doesn't just go to clients. I want to make a difference in other people. Like she's got a financial legacy too, which is her business. Yep. How can I help her be better? That makes me feel good. Yeah, that's I got nothing out of that, but the fact that I got to help someone and educate someone. That's it. It's the whole point of this podcast. And look,
I love our industry, and I'm so fortunate that I found it, because we are a very collaborative industry. We're not really stabbing each other's backs. We never come up against each other's clients. If we do, we usually just give the broker a call and say, hey, this guy's, maybe just give him a bit more love or whatnot. So, I love that part of it. And again, I sort of joke that like my business was built on plagiarizing other brokers, right? You get in the room with other brokers, you go and find the biggest broker in the room and just hammer them with questions, right? That's sort of how I learnt, because I guess I didn't have any bad habits from a bank or a previous background, right? I was brand new to finance, so I had to learn everything from scratch. So I probably picked up a few bad habits now, but I still try and do that if we get in conferences and things like that. Yeah. There's plenty of other big brokerages in Brisbane and Australia that I try and, plagiarize from.
Well, we've got to, again, it's you got to find out what's working for others, right? Because when you're growing, you can only grow so much doing your own thing. There's got to be another way. And I think, this is the same thing as a client, right? when they just go to a bank,
Yep.
you're going to outgrow your bank because that's all you know.
Yep.
We've had these conversations with clients, right? And they go, "Oh my gosh, how did we not do that?" It's like, well, you're here now.
Yeah.
You're with us. You're in our ecosystem. We're going to support you and guide you. But it's the same for your own growth.
Yeah, correct.
If you're not learning, you're not growing, and you're just going backwards. And I'm really looking forward to that conference next week. And I'm pumped to learn and bring it back, because all that stuff that I bring back is there to help more clients.
Yeah, that's right.
Help grow all our team, help grow myself.
Yep.
And if anyone wants to have a conversation or a coffee, I love a good coffee.
Yep.
We've got great coffee right next door. Fortitude Coffee Roasters, good beans.
Give them a plug.
Yeah. But it just makes it, we're open. We're not here to.
No, that's right.
I don't care. I want to see you succeed.
That's it.
I want to give back. I want to give back to people that have given me a start. I'm happy to have a conversation with anyone. But I guess looking at where we are now to where we could be, like what's next for the Bradley family? Because you guys have just made a massive move, right?
Yeah, we just made a move, just trying to get in a bit closer to the kids' schools and things. But obviously we've put down roots with the business in Ashgrove. So that's been a really fun project to work on, and great location for the team to collaborate and be in there, and have a lot of fun, and we've got cakes all the time and birthdays and bits and pieces. So
drinking games apparently for the Christmas party.
Yeah, so mate, it's a really good culture. So I really enjoy that part of it, because for so many years it was just a really small team, and we've got some real long-standing people in our team, which makes it really good as well, and you develop such a great relationship, both personally and working relationship with these guys. So I really enjoy that side of it. But I don't know. I mean, I started out just by myself, and we've grown to where we are now. Well, off the whim of not too much. So I guess the goal is just to keep offering the same service, right? Yeah. So we, no matter how big or small the team gets, we don't want to waver on that commitment to clients. I'm still loving it. I'm almost a decade in, still love it, still working with plenty of first home buyers, and, working probably more hours than I should be. But, I love that side of it. I can't help but not help people.
It's not really a job, is it?
No, correct. That's it. So and I guess coming from engineering, I never really was super passionate about it. And so now that I've found broking, it's just absolute godsend, and it's exactly what I want to do, and I know that I'm good at doing, and it just really combines so many of my interests, and running a business, being flexible. I've got a couple of young kids, so it works really well around that, but then still being able to work the hours I want to work, and helping so many clients, building the team. Like and really it's pretty easy to get started, right? It's not like you're buying a franchise or having to invest hundreds of thousands of dollars to get a brokerage started. It's just off the back of a phone and a car, effectively, right?
Yeah, exactly. I don't think, you just need, and just talking to people and being nice, right?
Yeah.
Don't forget, it allows you to go jet skiing too, right?
True. So, you got to have a couple of hobbies and things.
Exactly.
So,
you can't just be work, right?
Yeah.
We're not like going to the gym.
Yep.
That's my little, a home away from home, and like my food.
Yeah.
Right. So always eating. But I think, that's what's great about, like working, I think you talked about passion for the role. I've always quick background, but I never wanted to be a lender.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Never.
Yeah.
I sort of fell into it.
Yeah.
Working at the bank. And all I wanted to ever be is a branch manager, because I just thought they sat there and ordered people around, right?
Yeah.
And just sat in an office. But when I found out oh man, I did lending because I had to be you needed to understand that, because that's a big part of being a branch manager and being able to manage a lender. I found that out, and then I did it. Then I went to management and went, oh my gosh, this is not what I want to do. Went back to lending, back to coaching, or then to coaching, because I actually picked it up really quickly.
Yep.
And then I decided, geez, this is great. But then again, last couple of years fell out of love with it. But then moving, that different stimulus of, hey, now got to run your own business.
That's it.
Here's the platform. Being around the team is probably the biggest
yeah
change and it's rekindled the passion for lending, but also being able to learn new things along the way. Learn how to run a business.
Yeah, correct.
Learn how to speak to different clients. Just be a better person and just educate yourself, educate others, and give back more than you get.
Yeah,
I think that's the biggest change that I've seen in myself for the last 12 months.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and I think it's come off what you do, like seeing how you give back so much but take very little for yourself, as in, you just give. And listening to a lot of these top business guys, that's what it's about, right?
Yeah, that's it.
The Gary V's of the world, the Alex Hormozis of the world.
Yep. I mean, you and I got a lot of knowledge in our head, right, about lending. And there's a lot of people that are trying to get into the market or build a portfolio. I mean, I'm an investor. I've got a large portfolio. So I know the structuring and how to do it. And lending, it's such a big part of that. So, if a client comes to us and wants to build a portfolio, well, we've done it. We've been there, done it. We're not theorists. We're practical. So, we can do that. Same with developments. You've done a lot of that stuff and, SMSF and things where, it's not like we're just talking about it because we enjoy it. We've done it, right?
And Linda's favourite one, rooming house, right?
Yeah, correct. So that's it. But, the thing that frustrated me about engineering was like, I looked at 5-10 years ahead of me. I could see where my career was going to be. And they're all miserable and they hated their jobs and they're going through divorces and things. So, then when you look at what we do as brokers, it's such a positive experience. Like I worked on $1 billion projects as an engineer, but then you come in here and you're helping someone with a, first home buyer. But I get way more kick out of that because you're actually directly affecting and influencing that client's financial position and their life, right?
Creating their financial legacy.
That's it.
Starting them out. And that's what, that's whether you're starting in the middle of it, at the end of it, or want to do something anywhere in between. I think there's a solution for everyone. And I think, there's a no obligation chat, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It doesn't cost you anything to have a conversation. I think there's again, a common misconception. I'm sure you get asked this from a lot of how do you get paid? Things like that.
That's it. Yeah. It's a no-brainer, right?
It's the least of your worries. We get paid to act on your best interest, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
And if and when a loan funds, right? And let's just park that.
Yeah.
There are situations, where you're giving very specific advice. It's complex. It's off. It's not your standard residential stuff.
Correct. That's right.
But the value I feel we add is worth its weight in gold.
Well, I mean, in the office every week we talk about, clients that we've helped settle a purchase, and we sort of say around the office, like, that would never have settled without us chasing it. Like, some of our team will sit on the phone for, days making sure a settlement is done, whereas that just won't happen direct to a bank. They just don't really care. Whereas, we don't have millions of clients like some of the banks do, right?
Yeah.
So you've got that personal service where we actually care. We're on the journey with the client. We've got, our goals are aligned, right? We're lender agnostic, right?
Yeah.
We don't, our goal is to facilitate. We don't mind if it's black, blue, green, red, whatever's best for the client. But our goal is aligned in getting that client, their property settled, their home or their investment property or whatever it is. So we'll go, over and above to get that sorted.
Yeah, and even you go as far as even talking about yesterday, one of my clients sold one of their investment properties, and they're going to pay out the loan and stuff like that. But they were stuck. Between Tim and myself, we actually went, bang, let's just get this. It's Friday. It's settlement's Friday. No one's looked at it.
Yep.
Within an hour, using our contacts, it was booked. Magic, right?
That's it. Yep.
It's just about when the banks, I think to a degree, the banks like dealing with us.
Yeah, for sure.
We don't have the same stigma. We're not aggressive. We're not. Just like, how can we all help each other? Let's come up with a solution.
Correct. How do we get this sorted, in the interest of the client?
Yep.
So, we'll work with conveyancers and agents and buyers agents and insurance brokers and building and pests to try and facilitate this process, again, because clients aren't doing it day in, day out like we are.
Yeah.
So
I think that's the other thing, right? When you come in, you just say, we work with everyone. We have such a big network of specialists in their field. I just don't. You may get that from a few people in Bankland, but it's you're so restrictive. Whereas we're like out there building a team to help clients. Like we're just one part of such a small.
Yep.
It's probably a pretty important part.
Yeah. Yep.
You know, it all stems from getting right advice, speaking to the right people.
Yep.
And that, you know, when you see that plan come to fruition,
Yeah.
you know, like you said, that's where we get the...
And our referral partners are an extension of our brand, right?
Exactly.
So we've used them all personally. We've vetted them. So, you know, there's plenty of, you know, interesting cats out there. So, you know, why not work with the guys that we work with? Because we're in the industry, we know who the good operators are, right?
Exactly. And I think the one thing that, you know, differentiates us, our referral partners from maybe some others, I'm not going to speak out of turn, but mate, they don't pay us, we don't pay them.
Yeah.
It's
good
there
business.
for your best interests.
Yep.
And, you know, like I always give my clients a couple and go, well, pick someone that's going to actually suit your personality.
Yeah, that's
Here's
right.
a couple. They're both great at what they do. Go for it.
Yeah, exactly.
And let me know how you go and let me know which one so that I can just say thank you to them.
Yeah, that's right.
And, you know, sometimes it is a very thankless job, but I think
and
that's...
look, we try and build trust with our clients, but we're also trying to build trust with our referral partners, right? So they trust us with the finance of their clients. So, you know, we want to make sure that we're making them look good too, right?
Yep.
And we appreciate the support and the business.
Yeah, 100%. So excited about next week?
Yeah, it'd be good.
It's my first. It's actually, I've never been to a national conference, so I think I'm looking forward to it. Bring back some valuable nuggets of gold. But do you have any last parting words, words of wisdom from Adam Bradley?
I don't know. Thanks for being on the team, mate. It's been really good having you in the business the last 12 months. And yeah, it's been really exciting seeing your growth and I guess the value add. You know, a lot of the capabilities that you bring into the business was something that we couldn't offer in the business. So, you know, we were having to, you know, be at the whim of other banks or brokers with, you know, referring those out. So it's been really fun to work, you know, quite closely with you on a few clients and, you know, work together again for that client outcome. But yeah, I'm excited about Emerge. You know, I guess I never really expected it to be, you know, as big as it is or growing as much. And, you know, I always knew that I had the right intentions, but it's been really exciting seeing other people join me on the journey. And I guess, you know, Emerge isn't me anymore. You know, I used to think it was, but I can't do everything, and I can't run a brokerage, you know, semi-successful brokerage without the team that we've got. So yeah, mate, just want to say thanks for being part of the team. And it's, really enjoy working with you and, you know, working with your clients and I guess see you flourish as well. So
I guess for me, thank you for those words, but thanks for the opportunity and just allowing me to, I guess, you know, do what I guess makes me happy, but also helps people. Like ultimately that's what we do is we help people. And, you know, I don't think I would have ever had the opportunity to do something like a podcast if sort of like the reins weren't sort of taken off. Just go do your thing, do what makes you happy. And
that's
you
it.
know, and
we're not a big corporate, right? We don't have to get things ticked off by HR or, you know, marketing or whatever. But yeah, I think it's a really exciting time, especially, you know, where obviously a lot of our focus is Southeast Queensland. And I think it's going to be a really good property market the next, you know, 5 to 10 years in the lead up to the Olympics. We've got some great projects happening. You know, there's talk of a few interest rate cuts next year. So that always generates, you know, a lot of movement and people looking to review or restructure or get back into the market or upgrade. So yeah, I really think Southeast Queensland is the hive of property for the next decade. So yeah, it's exciting to be a part of and we look forward to helping a lot more, you know, Australians get into the market and grow their wealth through property.
Cool. Mate, thanks for coming on. I know it's been a long time coming.
Yeah, that's it.
But I'm sure this is not going to be the first and only podcast. I'd like to have you back on. Probably talk a little bit more about some key findings or what's been happening in the property market that you've been seeing. And we'll get some of the other guys on as well and have a bit of a round panel, share the knowledge with clients. But mate, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me, mate. Hopefully not all this makes the cutting floor, you know.
No, it'll make it. Luke from Umbrella Creative will do a good job.
Yeah, awesome.
Putting the reels up and also the whole podcast. But mate, thanks so much for coming on.
I appreciate it.
You can find Emerge Finance, www.emergefinance.com.au.
Yeah.
We're at 109 Ashgrove Avenue. Fortitude Coffee Roasters is right next door. Great coffee, good beans if you're into coffee like myself.
Yeah.
As always, thanks everyone for listening to the podcast today. Hope you got something out of it. You can find me on Instagram at Dion Finance Specialists, the podcast at Finances Property That podcast, also on LinkedIn. Like, follow, subscribe, Share it with your friends. It doesn't cost you anything. It's absolutely free. And I see you guys all on the next episode, but also don't forget, the information on this podcast is very general in nature and it does not take into consideration any of your current or future circumstances. And if you want to know more, come speak to Adam or myself.
Costs nothing to have a chat.
Yeah, exactly. Costs absolutely nothing to have a chat. Come and see us and we can guide you if you need to see other specialists in other fields. But apart from that, guys, thank you for listening and see you on the next episode.
Thanks again.
As always, the information on the show is very general in nature. If you'd like to speak more about your current situation, you can contact me using the details below. Thank you for listening.